All right, namaste. This is Manjulali. So today our topic is mind and doshas. Now we've understood that mind has three gunas. So usually mind is always under the influence of one, two permutation and combination of these three gunas: sattva guna, tamas guna, which we call tamu guna, and rajoguna. And mind also has a deep connection to doshas. So today my topic is connection to doshas. Now, in order for you to really deeply understand this topic and dive into it, I will actually take you into a advanced topic, which is introduction to Pranavaha Shrotas's respiratory system, and we will talk a little bit about prana from Ayurvedic anatomy perspective. So I'll have to take you into Ayurveda Kriya Sharir, which is our course AC 105, which you were anyway going to start after Ayurveda in the mind. So think of it as kind of combination class for AC 106 and AC 105 today, because without understanding that, I don't think you'd be able to dive in. But if anything seems a little difficult or abstract, please stop me, ask me to slow down. I'm happy to stop and restart and explain it. All right. This is very easy. You guys have been doing this is a verse from Sri Bhagavad Gita that basically you're not this body. And so this is a famous verse in Bhagavad Gita: Atmanam Rathinam Vidhi Shariram Ratmevacha Buddhim Tu Sarathim Vidhi Manaha Praghamevacha. Meaning that I'm not this body. Just like if you see there's a chariot, it has 5 horses and someone's pulling the chariot and then somebody's sitting on the seat, right? So, and someone is the owner of the chariot. So the owner of the chariot is, and the chariot here means your physical body, the body. The owner of the chariot is the Atma or the soul. The chariot itself is the physical body. The person who's driving the chariot, who's driving your body and mind specifically, is buddhi. Here Krishna is driving, so Krishna is compared to the driver, or the person who's driving the body and the mind. The whip that he's using to drive the body is the mind. And these 5 horses are the indriya, or the senses: eyes, ears, nose, like that. 5 senses are the horses, and these 5 senses are move wherever the mind wants them to go, and they're being controlled by the intelligence. And the person sitting in the seat of the chariot is Atma, or soul, which here in this case Arjuna. I hope that makes sense. The idea is that if you could actually understand this verse, the whole concept of Ayurveda and the mind is literally, the entire concept of Ayurveda and the mind is in this one verse. So Atul just did a class with all of you on mantra. Now, why are we doing mantra? Mantra has sound vibration. It controls the indriya, which controls the mind, which gives a tool to the intelligence, and it helps the Atma and the body. So it's one of the most important protocols. Is there any question about this? You can put it in the chat. I'll answer later. I'm going to move forward. So the most important dosha related to the mind is Vata dosha. So if you look at the Ayurvedic texts, I'm going to write this down. There are 40 diseases or disorders related to Pitta, 20 diseases related to Kapha, and 80 diseases related to Vata, out of which most of them are mental also, or psychological. So that makes Vata the most important dosha in terms of mind. If we could help Vata, then we are actually helping not 1, not 2, but 80 disorders, or 80 category of disorders. Vayuhu niyanta praneta cha manasaha. This is from Charak Samhita. Vayu, it literally is saying that Vayu is the boss. Vayu is the big boss, and it controls the mind. That's exactly what it's saying. So for any kind of mental disorder, depression, anxiety, stress, insomnia, we also consider insomnia, mostly also related to the mind, because mind is not letting you sleep. All of these are connected to that one dosha, vata dosha. So if you had one tool to help any disease related to mind, you would always start with vata dosha. Vata governs, hang on a second. Vata governs all movements of body. We know that, we move, we think. Even mind's ability to be creative, mind's ability to think, all of it is governed by vata. It not just controls, but it motivates the mind. Let's go do it. When vata is less, then you're not motivated to do anything. It also restrains, gives, and impels mental activities, you know. And the sub-doshas that we're going to talk about today, that are related to mind directly and indirectly. Directly, and the most important, if I had to give, I would say 50% of all prana issues are related to the mind. Let me write that number there. This weightage I've given, if vata, if we were to divide vata in sub doshas and see which of the dosha that is most connected with mind and manasa, then you see the dosha that is most connected to the mind is prana, followed by udana, followed by, I mean, udan vyan kind of similar, and apan only 10%, because apan is actually indirectly relating, because apan is to do with the downward flow. Only thing is, when apan gets upset, it upsets the pran and udan because of the direction. So it is not directly related, by it's indirectly related, but it's definitely related. I think I've told you the story where I've had people who came to me for constipation. Oh, I'm chronically constipated or whatever, and I suggested some herbs and protocols, and then they're coming back and saying, I get migraine headaches, or I get lightheaded, and now suddenly ever since the constipation stopped, I'm not lightheaded anymore, and I'm not fatigued anymore, or I'm not getting my migraine headaches anymore, because that apana was pushing the vata up. Let's look at the directions one more of, there's a question there. um, Let me ask you, and I will ask you in the chat, what is the direction of apana vayu? Is the direction down, up? Thank you. So the direction of apana is down. Direction of udana, udan, is up. Direction of yana, yeah, it's like circular. What about prana? Prana is pretty much all pervading. Yes, it's all pervading. And the only place mind, prana is not there, mind is not there. Do you remember in the last class we had talked about that mind is all over, present all over the body, right? What is circulating mind all over the body? We talked about mind is like the pran is circulating, and the only place pran is not present, there is no life, it's dead, is nail and hair, right? The only place there, because nails are literally, they're dead cells, and hair is literally the mala, the waste product of both nails and hair are waste product related to bones or asti dhatu. And this is the only two places pran is not present. So where pran is not present, there is no mind. There is no manasa. So wherever we talked about, except for these two, pran is all pervading. The main domain of pran is the top of the head. We have talked about it, but it's all over. Every cell in your body has pran. Every cell has the pran. The only place there is no pran is nail and hair. So that leads us to believe that circulation of mana, circulation of thoughts, is being carried by pran. Is it making sense? I'm promise you I'm going somewhere with this. Circulation of thoughts. Okay. So if all our thoughts are anxiety, or stress, or negativity, or positivity, everything we see, everything we ingest, all of it is being circulated by pran. How would we control pran? What is the best way to control pran? It's a yoga practice. It is one of the limbs of yoga practice. Which is the limb of the yoga practice? Is Ashtanga yoga. There are 8 limbs. Exactly. Since our entire mind, our entire thoughts, everything gets circulated. Think of pran as a big, very big fan that is circulating. So everything, for example, you watch, you're walking, you're driving down the road, you see a big billboard and it says, and the thing sticks in your mind. Just recently, if you see an accident on the road, if you see a horror movie, or if someone says something to you, you didn't say back, anything that is stuck, or any thought, or you can't get rid of a piece of music in your head, all of that, it's what is circulating that thoughts again and again and again and again. Prana is circulating. So if you could, to control the mind, number one protocol is pranayam, because prana is the one which is circulating. So is it circulate? We understood mind is present all over the body except nails and hair. And the only reason it's not in nails and hair is there's nothing to circulate it. Okay? Let me save this. I have a new computer today, so I'm a little slow. So we have established that prana is the most important sub-dosha related to the mind. It is the top protocol. So one of the things that I have an issue with all the yoga teacher trainings out there, they teach beautiful yoga, they teach asana, but not everybody is focusing on pranayama. So when we teach, sorry about that, when we teach yoga teacher training in our college, we have a, oh goodness, new computer, forgive me please. Our focus is not just asana, but also a lot of pranayam and bandhas. So everything. Okay, yesterday I went to a class and it was 85 degrees in the classroom. It was full, it was steamy. And of course, there's a cuff. I, of course, liked it. And on the top of it, the teacher was telling us to come back to Ujjayi breath again and again. And said Ujjayi breath is very calming, and I had to bite my lip from saying anything because Ujjayi breath was great for me. I'm a kapha person. A lot of vatas and pittas around me who were turning red in the heat, and on the top of that, you're doing Ujjayi breath with vinyasa again and again and again and again and again. Not so good. I was thinking, oh boy. So I wish they were teaching more about breath techniques in the yoga teacher training. So you cannot just use Ujjayi breath. To use it in a warm-up is okay, but to use it in an entire class is not okay. Coming back to prana, I'm just going to read I know you guys don't read Hindi or Devanagari. I'm just going to read it for me. So, Uraha Kantha Charo Buddhi Hridaya Indriya Chittadrik Shishtavan Kshavatu Udgar Nishwasana Praveshakrat. So, herein prana is in ura or chest. Let me write that down. Actually, you know what? I will share another presentation with you on AC 105, which is all about prana. 1 second. That'll make a lot more sense. All right. So like I said, this is the prana portion of, this is a presentation on the diseases of prana and vayus and pranavahashrotasis that we do in AC 105. So I'm not going to do the whole thing. I'm only interested in talking about the, uh, the prana portion, because I really want you to understand prana and vayus, but we won't do the vyadhi or the disease portion. So in the AC 101 and 103, we learned about 5 types of prans, but actually 5 types of vayus. Okay, I'm so sorry. In Sanskrit, you have like 20 words for the same thing. For example, sun salutation, right? You have heard that you can call sun salutation Surya Namaskar, but it can also be called Ravi Namaskar. It can, so sun is Surya, Ravi, Bhaskara. There are so many synonyms for the same word. And yeah, so I remember when I was in learning Sanskrit, we had a book which was nothing but synonyms. I used to, like, I was in 7th grade. I'm like, why do I have to learn 10 different words for the same word? Because that's Sanskrit for you. Similarly, you will hear Vata, Vayu, Prana is sometimes used interchangeably. So sometimes you'll say there are 5 types of sub-vata, sometimes you'll say 5 types of vayus, and sometimes you'll say 5 types of prana. Okay, so when I just said, different pranas, I meant vayus or vata, just to keep that in. And of course, there is the prana, that vitality, and then there's the prana that resides in the head. So if that didn't confuse you further, we further want to confuse you. I'm sorry, that's Ayurveda for you. So go figure. So here we go. Let's see. The pran that is in the top of the head, right? The pran that is in the top of the head, from a clinical perspective, that pran, it is in the head and heart. It gives life, oxygen, inhalation, and swallowing are functions. Udan is in the throat, also controls facial expressions. Vyan is circulation, Saman is duodenum, lower stomach, Apan is elimination, exhalation, opposite direction of pran. We already have done this in AC 103. I don't want to get into it. What I'm introducing you today is secondary pranas. Normally, we don't do these pranas till we reach Ayurvedic Anatomy, AC 105, but I'm just doing it a little early just to, like I said, to give you a little bit more perspective. Yes, Shan, wait for it. I'm coming to that. So the secondary vayus do not have a huge function related to the mind, but it can give you some indication. Secondary prana is naga. So pran, udan, vyan, samanapan, you guys already know. The first one, these are secondary. So for example, someone is belching continuously or burping continuously, or they cannot stop burping or belching, or they feel like, I mean, if you've been pregnant, you have the feeling that you're nauseous and you want to vomit. When you go there, no vomiting is coming out, right? That's naga. Naga is also dragon or snake. That's what it means. And the reason why it's a dragon or a snake, because it is coming out of your esophagus is the body of the snake, and the mouth is the head of the snake. So naga. That is why it's called naga. Kurma means tortoise. So if you look at the shape of the eyelids, it's kind of like it's the back portion of a tortoise or a turtle, right? If you close and you look at how the eyes are shaped. So that is called kurma, blinking of eyelids. And how would I know if someone comes to me and I'm having a conversation about them for whatever interview consultation that they're doing with me, and they don't blink, or they're blinking too much, they keep on blinking, or they keep on rubbing their eyes, or they keep on burping, I already know their secondary prana is affected. Is it because the other prana is affected? Krakar is the appetite. If someone is This is the most important secondary pran that we are concerned with. We are not so much concerned with Naga, Kurma, or Devadatta, or Dhananjay. We are not concerned with at all. This is for information only. We are really only concerned with Krakara, because Krakara is, you know, how if someone has no appetite, or someone is sneezing, or somebody's hungry, that the Vayu that is giving, helping the nerves give signals, you know, in the enteric nervous system, is the Krakara Vayu. So if you are not, this is related to your enteric nervous system. This is related to your nerves, right? Because that's how the signal that we are hungry, give food, is transmitted through the nerves. You know, the stomach is giving signal to the brain is giving signal. The brain doesn't have any nerves related to digestion, but it connects to the enteric nervous system that is giving it all. That connection, that, you know, the traveling portion of where I'm hungry, I'm thirsty, is being given by the Krakara Vayu. What is the connection with mind? Now, you have read about suppression of urges. If somebody is suppressing their appetite, let's say because they want to lose weight, or they're just busy, you know, they have to, you know, I've seen so many women, and I am one of them, so, you know, I get you. um, Drop the kids to work, go to work, drop the kids to school, go to work, come back, pick up the kids, come home, help cook, go to a yoga class or whatever, come back, clean the house. It's a lot. And then, you know, hunger and thirst and taking care of yourself takes a backseat. That could be one of the reasons. Or I've seen people, they're just trying to lose weight or fit into their wedding dress, and they will just suppress their appetite. Now, if it is a kapha person suppressing their appetite, it's not going to, you know, have a huge effect for a couple of days. If it's a vata person who's suppressing their appetite, hunger and thirst, whether they're doing it deliberately or they're doing it without thinking, now this is going to start affecting the the nervous system, which means it's going to start. It's the start of mental diseases. So that is, maybe that answers your question. So David, that yawning a person is yawning is really nothing to do with, you know, this is just for information only. Dhananjaya is, it basically, you know, when, I don't know if you have seen a person who has left their body, when the person leaves their body, and, you know, of course in India we cremate within 24 to 48 hours, within less than that. So the corpse will, the beard, you know, you see the beard still grows, or nails may grow, even though they have no life, they have no pran. This is kind of just leftover pran. Dhananjay is the leftover pran, leftover vayu that is left in the nail, or the skin, but there is no life. Does it make sense? And also Dhananjay, you know how, not just a corpse of a human, but even a corpse of an animal, it starts decomposing and smelling bad. If there was no Dhananjay, no decomposition will take place. It is Dhananjay that makes sure the decomposition, because really the body is changing, right? It interacts with the environment and helps it decompose, even though, you know, there's bacteria that's acting on it, and animals and coming and eating. I mean, I don't know if you've seen, um, you know, some roadkill of a bird or something. It starts smelling really, really bad, right? It's the action of bacteria, because it has to decompose. The way nature has made the human body, or even animal body or bird body or whatever, it must decompose. That's why the smell is there. So that is nothing to do with, again, it's just for information purposes only. That vayu or that prana is called Dhananjaya. Devadatta, nothing. Again, Krakar is only, we are only concerned with Pran, Udan, Vyan, Saman, Apan, and Krakar. Within this, Saman has nothing really much to do. Saman and Krakar is to do with appetite. So we are concerned with these five, and we are concerned with Krakara. So if they are suppressing hunger, or if the person doesn't have appetite because they're sick, but they still keep on eating. So that's the opposite. Make sense? Yeah, yeah, I would say hiccup would be Naga. Yes. Is there any link between secondary pran vayus and subvayus? Pran controls all of the Vayus. Everything is depending on no Pran, no Vayus. Pran is the most important thing. Hope that answers your question. Yeah, Pran controls everything. So let's go back and look at the qualities of Vayu, qualities of Vata. You've already done it, just a little refresher here. Avyakto vyakt karma cha rukshah shito laghu karah tiryago dvigunsh chaiva rajo bahula evacha. It is rough, it is light, it is cold, it is coarse, it is subtle, it moves in three directions, up, sideways, and downwards. It is permeated with rajogun. It also has the quality of carrying other two doshas, and it's the leader of the two. It's the big boss. So if you can calm down a vata of a person who has, vata-related manasa disorder, you will make sure that things don't get to the point where other doshas get imbalanced. So this I'm just quickly going. Another pran from Ayurvedic perspective is literally your respiration, your respiratory system. The inhalation and exhalation of air, the pran itself is, because pran and air, the oxygen, it's literally carrying energy of thoughts in every cell of our body. So we have to study this. I'm not going to do this right now, but this is again for because we actually covered this in AC 105. But I'm interested in the Sanskrit names. Pran is located in Murdha, head and brain. It is in Urasa, chest and heart. Kantha is throat, neck, and trachea. Jiva is tongue. Mukha is mouth and face. Nasika is nostrils. Function is swas, respiration. In fact, bronchitis and asthma is also called swas for some reason. Stivana is spitting. If a person is having too much spit in their mouth. Kshavatu is sneezing. Udgar is belching. And ahara is swallowing. And I'm not get into Mool Marga Mukha right now. So again, let's go into the clinical prana. What is the function of the pran from clinical perspective? Not the vitality portion. Oh yeah, without pran there is no life. We all know that. But for the sake of understanding Ayurveda, we've divided pran into two things. One is the pran that pervades everything, even though it is one, but just for learning purposes, we are studying it separately. And then is the pran that is the subdosha of vata. The subdosha of vata pran is responsible for eructation, sneezing, belching, vomiting, respiration, swallowing, hiccups. So when you have a person who has some mental disorder or who has some anxiety or who has some stress or who has some, history of some mental disorder, look for obstruction of pran. Are they sneezing, belching, vomiting? Are they breathing shallow? Are they having trouble swallowing? Are they having hiccups? Are there any obstruction in nasal passages? Trachea, lungs, and throat. Yeah, does it make sense? This is also called pranavaha shrotasis. A respiratory tract is also called pranavaha shrotasis. Chest is called uras and heart is called mahashrota, meaning the biggest shrota, the greatest shrota. So in heart is a little thing called soul or atma, which is a part and parcel of God, right? It is a divine thing that is inside our heart. So we talked about that pran is controlling thoughts and it's circulating, thoughts and everything. But who is controlling the pran? Atma is controlling the pran. Is it too abstract? Let me know. Make sense? So when we say pran is life, when there is no atma, there is no pran, that means there's no life. Does it make sense? Atma, our soul, and so in the urus, in the chest, in the heart area, you have Atma, the soul. You have Paramatma, which is the supreme soul or God. You have Atma, supreme soul, and it's in the chest. And think of it as an engine. Think of the heart as an engine because of the Vyana, because of the cardiovascular circulation, the circulation of blood that is happening. It is coming from it is happening in the heart, right? Heart always keeps on beating. It never stops because there are two things in there. There is supreme soul divine in there, and there's Atma in there. And when it is circulating all this cardiovascular circulation, it is also circulating prana. Whether our prana is good, bad, low, high, vitiated, it all kind of depends on the state of our heart and mind. Does it make sense? So pran is that force that connects the external world to our internal soul and our thing is, because we really don't talk to our soul, right? We are living in this body which is made of the pancha mahabhutas, and we're interacting with the outside world. What is it that is connecting us to our inside, to our atma? That is pran. Is it too much? Like, we've talked about pran as a clinical perspective, then pranava shrotasas, pranayam. And if you need me to, answer any question, very happy to. Yes, Shan. Spitting would also be related to vitiated kapha. Yes, Jala Mahabhut. Yes. Yes. Is this completely clear? No question. Okay. I am either you're just chewing on the facts that I'm throwing you, or you really understood. So I will just save this and move forward. Okay. So pranavaha shrotasas basically are the channels through which you have your cardiovascular circulation, you have your respiratory system, basically, right? This is kind of important. Heart, because we believe the source of mind is the heart. Heart also they have taken a heart from one person, put in another in a heart transplant, and the person who has received the transplant actually has memories and even knows the name of the person that they received the heart from. How is that even possible? This is new studies that shows that heart actually, when you love someone, you don't say, my brain loves your brain. You put your hand in your heart. It is all in the heart, right? My heart loves you. When you feel emotional pain, like really bad emotional pain, your brain doesn't hurt. You literally feel like a weight on your chest, don't you? When you do yoga, we are putting a hand, we are doing namaste. I am giving the divine in me, the soul in me is giving you pranams and namaste to the soul inside you. And we put our hands to our heart center, not our brain center. Because we live in the heart, we don't live in the brain. We don't live in that is where the mind is. So pranavaha shrotasas are the most important protocol and anatomy for our Ayurveda and the mind and psychology. From Western perspective, when you study psychology, the most important thing you're studying is the brain stem, the nervous system. That is the anatomy portion, and of course, behaviors and whatnot. In neurology, here, I mean, central nervous system and whatnot. From Ayurvedic perspective, this is all energetic, and all this energy is coming from heart and lungs. Simple. We live in the physical body that is powered by pran, which is powered by atma. Atma leaves the body, it takes the pran with it, we are dead. But it leaves a sukshma sharira, which sometimes when you see a person with sukshma sharir, you call it, oh my God, I saw a ghost. Big deal. It's just a person without a physical body. What is the problem? This Sukshma Sharir, because the Atma has left, the Atma has taken pran and mind, and and a new body is found, and it enters in a new body. From a Ayurvedic perspective, when you have vitiation of pranavaha srotasis of the respiratory system, then you should also consider, for example, you have somebody who has come to you for depression and anxiety. Please check and ask them if they tend to have congestion or they tend to have breathing problems. This is how you basically talk about it. This I'm not going to get into. Let me go back to my other presentation now. So going back to pran. Pran, expectoration, inspiration, ingestion, energy, swallowing of food. Pran controls all the senses, indriya. It controls and governs the mind. It is the connection between body and mind. It directs the intellect or buddhi to do. It promotes all normal mental activities. So any mental activities is affected. Just focus on pran. Just close your eyes, focus on pran. That's it. That means foods that are rich in pranayam, that is where we need to go. The second dosha, which is sub-dosha of vata, that is related to mind, is udana. How do you know it is affected? It's related with speech. Very simple. If a person has low energy or they are feeling sad, when they talk to you, the sound doesn't have energy. Yeah, okay, whatever. Yeah, I will make some tea. Do you want some? There is no energy there. Do you know what I'm saying? Sometimes you will hear some holistic health practitioners use the word throat energy. Throat has energy. So this is the throat energy. It's related with communication, speech. I'll tell you a very interesting case. There was a client, she was like almost 70. She used to come to me, and she had thyroid cancer, and her thyroid had been removed. And so she sat down and she told me the story that her husband was very physically abusive to her, and also, sorry, not physically, verbally abusive to her. He never laid a hand on her, but he was verbally always putting her down, basically. And she was from like an old-fashioned family in Italy where you don't say anything to your husband. And she never said anything back to him. And she said he didn't even say it in he actually said it jokingly, but it used to hurt her. And she never said anything back to him. And after like 20 years, she developed thyroid cancer. It was removed. And then he got sick. And then and then she finally started talking to him and saying these things hurt. But she said, I think the fact that I was suppressing my feelings, and I was not telling him that, the things that he said to me, putting me down all the time, they hurt me deeply. That's what caused the cancer. So she understood her body. She understood that that's what had happened to her. And I found that very interesting. And I've had another case, again, this happened with one of my students years ago. He's in San Diego. He had a client who was basically caught between her ex-boyfriend and her fiance, and both of them, the ex-boyfriend and fiance, were talking, and there was this drama going on, and she shouted at them, I don't want to see either of you again. And she went blind. She just went blind, just like that. She couldn't see. And the doctors ran all the tests. There was nothing wrong with her. It was psychological blindness. Yeah. So basically, so he wrote to me, and of course we did her chart and everything. She told her she used, so how you bless someone. She used the power of her udana, power of her speech to, I don't want to see anything. I don't want to see anything. These are two people that she loved the most. So, this was all psychological in her case. And of course, we did her chart and everything, but it is like a movie script. But if I were to tell you the stories, things I've seen, the stories I've heard, and of course now we live in America, the White House itself it's like a reality TV show, real life. But anyway, going back to Udana, do not, what we say, how we say it, it's powerful. How many times, as a counselor, when you tell someone, whether you tell them gently or you tell them forcefully, or you kind of hold somebody's hand and tell them to follow certain protocols, they have an impact on your client because you're using your speech. You're using your speech, and the speech and the sound has energy. How we say bless you, and we are giving our energy to someone else. So we should not just say bless you to any Tom, Dick, and Harry, because every time you say bless you, you give your pran to someone. When somebody touches your feet, you give your pran to that person. So in India, we always touch the feet of older person. When you touch the feet, their good deeds and blessings and pran come to us. So similarly with speech, when we say, God bless you, be well, I hope you feel better. And so you should be, you should definitely do that. But remember, your pran is going every time you say that. So the idea is, you look at a facial expression. If somebody is chronically sick, do you notice the facial expression, what happens to it? Usually, that's my first giveaway. The first, you look at how, for example, if somebody is telling you about their disease or disorder or something, and you watch their facial expressions, their words are saying, no, I'm okay, it doesn't really affect me, I'm fine, it's not that bad. But their face is contorted. So what the face is telling is the real story. In fact, they use it in psychology. They're called micro expressions. They even made a TV program about it. So look at the facial expression of a person. They tell another story. Match that with speech. So the throat controls your speech, your thyroid, your facial expressions. And if a person is depressed or they're not feeling well, or sometimes clients will come and even lie to you, they won't, because they're uncomfortable sharing the truth. Or maybe um, there's a 16-year-old, her mom is sitting in front of you and she's uncomfortable. Look at the facial expression, because tells you what's happening with Udan. That is related with expressing your emotions, your memory, your recollection. Also, when you ask someone in an interview, can you tell me what happened, what happens, and their face is completely blank, you automatically know this is an issue with the memory. Sorry, this is an issue with Udana. Let's talk about Vyana. Of course, Vyana is your cardiovascular system. It's related with contraction and relaxation of heart and so on and so forth. What it does is, if you have good cardiovascular system and everything is working fine, you do not have any hypo or hypertension, then mind is happy. And you are very sharp in your mind and actions. You're up and you're ready to go. So it does affect definitely directly as well as indirectly. A pan doesn't have a huge direct connection with the mind, but it does have an indirect connection with the mind. It is related with excretion of waste products. If the apan is not working here, let me show you with this is apan, and it's supposed to go down, right? And that's how we are able to excrete mala, waste products. And this downward energy is affected. So instead of going down, it's kind of stuck here. So if it's stuck and it's not, so if it starts pushing up, if instead of going down, a pan starts pushing up because a person is constipated, what is up? What is up? A pan is located in the intestine. Up in saman, it's going to affect the saman. That means it affects the agni, and a person is going to have digestive issues and bloating and flatulence. And then that is going to go up, and that's going to affect udana. I am telling you something from Nidanam now, which we do later on. So that now affects the throat energy. That might also cause a person to have some nausea or belching, because apan is pushing saman, udan, throat. And then that is now pushing, it's not supposed, this is not the way vayu or vata is supposed to flow. And now that's pushing pran. This may cause headaches, lightheadedness, memory issues. Does it make sense? So apan is vitiated. Instead of going down, it is stuck or pushing up. That affects saman, that affects udan, that affects pran. So if you bring, so almost, there is a word in Ayurveda that we mean bring it down. So when you give, not just for the mind, any disease or disorder related to vata, the aim and objective of that is bring it down. What are we trying to bring down? Vata has moved up. Let's bring it down. So saman can be center, udan can be in the throat going up, and apan can be going down. Anulomana, bring the vata down. So when sometimes Ayurvedic Vaidyas will say, oh, this person has this issue, let's do anulomana. Let's give them things that bring their apana down, balance their saman. And normally you balance apan, everything is balanced. This is how it is affected. It affects the mind. It is not directly affecting it. Doesn't make sense? Yes, no, maybe? Yeah, this is, no, this is, no, this is nothing to, yeah, I mean, we are right now kind of talking about the mind. So even though what you're saying may be correct, but right now we're talking about the mind. So from apana, that affects samana, that affects udana, that affects prana. So you bring it down by doing anulomana. Yes. Any question about this thing that I wrote here? Or are you still kind of chewing on that fact? Okay. I have saved this slide. Now let's talk about the relationship of pitta and the mind. So we've talked about the most important dosha related to mind is vata, and within vata it is prana. In pitta, the most important dosha related to the mind is sadhak pitta. Sadhak pitta is your IQ, it is your intellectual. I had written an article on sadhak pitta that is somewhere in the forums that I will, you know, what is, where is pitta related? Pitta is in the uh, it is in the, you know, it's pachak pitta is the most important. It is in the stomach. It works with agni, right? It's giving you its digestion, all kind of transformative things that's happening with the body is happening due to pitta, because it's that energy of transformation, the ability to take an idea and turn it into the ability to do something about it. Just to give you an example, you know, if vata persons are the best to have best, they have the best creative ideas, but the ability to execute that idea may, you know, it's hard for them sometimes. But if a person has a pitta mind, then it is very easy for them to execute ideas because of the transformative energy, ability to take something and turn it into action, right? So like an executive decision. And this they do because they have a huge amount of sadhak pitta. Sometimes you will see a pitta person, if you see Atul, he has a very, very big forehead. A big forehead in a Pitta person suggests A, philosopher, B, very strong sadhak Pitta, meaning a person is brilliant, highly intellectual. Their grasp and the ability of memorizing it is not normal. It is uh, beyond normal. It's really extraordinary. uh, it is also to do with decision making, courage, emotional, and actually I would not say as much emotional intelligence as much as if you didn't have the emotional intelligence, then a brilliant scientist could be a sociopath. You need the emotion part of it as well. So sadhak pitta is more intellectual intelligence as well as emotional. Like it says, without sadhak pitta, IQ is just dry knowledge. So sadhak pitta, even though it's located in the heart, it is uh, it is talking to the part of the brain that is related to intellectual tasks, including memorizing. So combination of those two makes sadhak pitta. We already know what sadhak pitta is. Why, when a person's sadhak pitta is disturbed? Very simple. I get lots and lots of people related with sadhak pitta. They are going to their work. I think every single Indian person who comes to me here in Austin is an engineer, pretty much electrical engineer or whatever, head of Amazon here in Austin. A lot of corporate people come to me. And one of the big thing is, irrespective of their dosha, their sadhak pitta is pretty much fried. Like I have one client, she works at Dell here. She, highly competitive job, very pitta person, very brilliant, and works nighttime. And so, also pitta person with pitta mind will push themselves and push themselves and push themselves, and they don't give themselves a break. Any pitta mind here? Any pitta mind? You know what I'm talking about? Pushing yourself. And really, it's almost like a pitta person and a pitta mind is in competition with themselves. Nobody is telling them to work as hard as they are, but it's like they're trying to prove something to themselves. So they can basically, what they mentally burn themselves out. That's what I'm trying to say. And that can lead to headaches, that can lead to anxiety, stress. I had one person who was having some tremors in the hand and went to a neurologist. Nothing was wrong, nothing showed, and came to me. And I'm like, how many hours have you been working? And he said, well, right now I'm working normal hours, but I had a project for 3 months. I was pretty much pulling out, doing night shifts and like doing 24-hour work days, 3 days a week. Another one is Laura still in the class? She left. Oh, she just left. Yeah, so Laura is a nurse. I wanted to talk about that. One of the things I noticed, like nurses or even physicians that have 12-hour work shifts. So what I noticed is the way they schedule nursing and physicians is they'll have 12-hour work shifts. And I had a friend who was a physician. She was actually a resident. She used to come to me in San Diego. She would basically, she was a resident. She was pulling out 2 12-hour shifts together because that's the kind of load they had. And then she would have exams on the top of it, and then she would come for an Ayurvedic massage, and she would have headset on so she could be listening to the answers. I'm like, what are you doing? You're just going to regurgitate these things in the test exam, and we're going to trust you with our lives when you become a physician? Seriously, I would take her headsets out and throw them and said, you're going to get a nice massage and relax. So she used to love coming to me because I would basically boss her around. But it's really, really hard for people who do shifts like that. So you will get people who work in a corporate culture where they are expected to, in India, they not so much. If you work in England, I've worked in England. And even in the European countries, it's 5 o'clock, goodbye, I'll see you tomorrow. Nobody cares. Everybody's out the door. In America, work is God. It's a corporate culture. You have been given there's a deadline, whether you finish it at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 8 o'clock, do an all-nighter, that's not a problem. You need to finish this. It's very, very competitive, right? Pays well, but it's very competitive. So at that time, when you're using your mind and non-stop and not getting a break, and then what happens, then people will work very, very, very hard. At least my clients, I don't know about you guys, but at least my clients. And then on Saturday, Sunday, they have not seen their wives or family all week. And then Saturday, Sunday, there's things that a child has to go to soccer practice. Then they have a lunch with the family. Now they're going out somewhere because they haven't spent time with the family all week, and now they're going to try and do. So the mind doesn't get any rest, any restorative time during the week or weekend. Yeah. As a result, whatever's happened has happened. So I gave you example of my, one client who had the night shifts, and then I gave her some herbs and suggested she do restorative yoga. And you know what she said? Ugh, ugh. So she said, oh my God, it's so boring. I said, that's the point. You need to slow down. You're just, going on and on and on and on. That's why these things, she had insomnia. She had all these issues happening. I said, you need to find an activity that slows you down and is boring. That is homework. And then I texted her the next day, have you found restorative yoga yet? She's like, nah. Then I texted her again the next day, have you found a restorative yoga yet? Nah. Then I kept on texting her for 3 days, and fourth day she joined. She said, now get off my back. I've joined a restorative yoga. And then she called after a week. She felt really good. It did help her. Does it make sense? So you will find, one of the things that you will find with your clients is that their sadhak pitta gets fried just because they work in a corporate culture. They're not finding time to rest their mind. Just rest your mind. If I don't rest my mind, I cannot function. I have TV time. I give myself TV time every day. I watch, Stephen Colbert or Jimmy Kimmel or something like that, where they make me laugh. Or I have to do that because my sadhak pitta, because it's very intellectual. For each class, I have to make notes, and sometimes if it's a practitioner class, I have to study for a couple of hours before I teach. So do you know what I'm saying? So sadhak pitta is very, very much related to people who do intellectual kind of jobs or work, and they have to rest their mind. You have to rest their mind. Another age group that you will find is high schoolers who are just about to go to college, 11th, 12th. There is so much. When I was back in San Diego, I had moms coming with their seniors in high school all the time. They had so much pressure. They had to go to college, SATs. Mother was under pressure. Sadhak pitta was fried. So these are the kind of clients that I've had. And when we do the client encounters, I'll be sharing some of these case studies. Now, what is kapha in the mind? Kapha nourishes the body. Let me just start with asking you, has any one of you, yes or no, you can answer in the chat. Have you ever had a really heavy duty cold where you're completely congested? All of us have had that, right? And when you had that heavy duty cold, you got mucus just literally running down your nose, and you're sitting with all these tissues. At that time, do you have the ability to memorize things? And do you have the ability to, is your mind functioning at its normal capacity when you have congestion? Like if I were to give you memorize this verse or something while you have congestion, can you do that? Yes. Has that happened with you? Come on. Anyone else except for Sean? I know she's answering questions. Exactly. The minute you have congestion and cold, and it's like there's all this mucus, you become cloudy and foggy, and your memory doesn't work, and your short-term memory is shut down. You go to another room, and you're looking at the room and the walls and saying, why did I come here again? Because you can't think. Exactly. Because kapha is blocking your pranavaha, shrotasas, and the mind. Let me write that down. Because kapha can block mind. That's why we do things like neti. Neti is literally for congestion and kapha, but it'll unblock the mind. You'll feel better. You can think again. So neti, in that case, if person is having so much congestion and so much, in that case, and also if a person doesn't have enough, if you have a very dry nasal crust, the mind would also be agitated. That's exactly what kapha and mind is. It is not directly related to the mind, but it is indirectly related. So, of course, Avalamba kapha is situated in the heart, nourishment to hridaya, pericardium area, pleura of the lungs. Mind, forgiveness, tolerance, stability, and love. That's what it is, what it does. Tarpa kapha, nourishment to the head, meaning if you have too much tarpa kapha, it's a problem. If you don't have enough, it's a problem. And tarpa kapha within the cuff, which is really because it's supporting the sense organs. Just to give you one example, if you have dry nose and your tongue is dry, you cannot taste anything. Your mind is going to be affected. Oh my God, I can't taste anything. Oh, I can't breathe. I can't taste anything. Your mind is immediately. So at that time, kapha can block prana. Let me write that down. So we've talked about pranavaha shrotas and manovaha shrotas earlier. So it can also block your manovaha shrotases. Any questions here? Is it clear or should I move? So this is just two types of manas disorders. So sharira vyadhi. So disorders are called vyadhi here. Vyadhi. So an example of a vyadhi which is exhibited in the physical body is cough, kasha, amla pitta, acid reflux. Having said that, every physical disease causes some mental issues. I mean, for example, when people find out they have a chronic disease like cancer, the news of cancer is worse than cancer. This completely depletes them of motivation. It's pretty bad. Everything, even if you're coughing for like 2 hours, it's like, oh God, you get depleted mentally as well. So every physical disease has a mental component, right? Uh, Another thing that happens when someone has a physical disorder, I had a client, he had ALS, and I was working with someone else, a neurologist. Oops, sorry, I have a new. Um, so he was and he was doing better, and he was doing all kind of Ayurvedic treatments. He was actually doing pretty good. But of course, Ayurveda cannot help ALS. He would eventually deteriorate. And all he could think about and talk about the his mental condition, that the fact that he had a disease was so much worse than the disease itself. Sometimes you'll see people, they have a chronic disorder, but they're happy, and they've accepted it, and they just want to live. So sometimes people kind of fall into the self-pity. Oh, I have a problem. Self-pity, self-pity. And as counselors, we can kind of direct them out of the self-pity. You're not this body. This is karmic. You can still have a good, happy life and enjoy what have been given to you. So we kind of direct them and counsel them at that time. They actually get attached to the disease so much, they become the disease. Like, who are you? I am the person who has the disease. So one of the things as counselors is we want to determine that, and we want to say that, we want to point that out as well. And of course, there is the manas vyadhi, which is to do with psychosis, delusion, paranoia, eating disorders. This, I think, already Atul covered. There are some hetus for manasa roga. Roga is again disorder. And I will do this because 11 o'clock already and my time is up. So I'm definitely going to do it next week. But any questions? There's just a couple of, 3 slides left. Any questions? So before I leave the class, what is the one takeaway that you've taken from my presentation today? Everybody has to answer. One takeaway. Anything. What is the one thing that, and if nothing, if it was all boring, you want me to repeat something, you can ask me to do it. I'll do it next time. Yes, that is one thing. Okay, vitiated doshas can affect the mind, pranavayu. Yes, yes, good. Megan, Morgan, Patricia, Cliff. Yes. And the number of disorders for vata is 80. Number of disorders for pitta are 40, and number of disorders for kapha are 20. And all the disorders that are not included in are a permutation and combination of these 80, 40, and 20. Yes. So for a vata person, they naturally tend to have more rajasic because movement. A pitta person naturally rajasic, a little bit of sattvic. Kapha person naturally tamasic. Yes. Yes, sadhak pitta in a pitta person, yes. And kapha when they're congested and all. So that's good. That means you've understood. I'm so happy to hear that because I'm always scared to do this one because it's a hard one. So you actually have an essay on mind and dosha. That is an assignment. Write an essay on mind and doshas that we can turn it into a blog of mind and doshas that you will put on the forums, and the best blog will end up on our school website. That's the homework. Write a blog on mind and connection to doshas. And you can take examples. I love case studies and examples. So all those points you made, Sean, that would make beautiful. Yes. So write a blog about mind and doshas with examples. Yeah, and then it's going to end up in the college website. Okay, then I'll see you in the Tuesday class. And yeah. And then we are also going to start, oh yeah, very quickly before we end the class, in a couple of weeks, sometime in February, we will start doing client encounters. So you should start doing some 1 or 2 client encounters. And these client encounters have to be related to the mind, not the body. If everybody could share 1 client encounter, that would be fantastic. Yeah, first you have to find someone. And that includes, like, we consider insomnia, stress-related headache to be a mind issue, not just a physical body issue. Stress, anxiety, postpartum depression, PMDD, PMS, related depression, that is PMDD. Then, yeah, all of these, if you can find someone, all of you by like mid-Feb to March, you'll start doing client encounters for the mind. Okay? Insomnia and headaches also. Stress-related headaches. All right, take care. I'll see you Tuesday. Have a wonderful rest of the day. Namaste. Yes, only mind related, not so much body. So it's going to be a very short client encounter. We are not really talking about Agni or anything. We're only talking about the mind. A mind client encounter. Yes. Yes, Sean. And so insomnia, headache, anxiety, stress, depression, these are some of the things that you'd be dealing with. Okay? All right.